between said Eloi Lupopo as well as South Africa's Mamelodi Sundowns. Coach, just your thoughts in terms of the 90 minutes of action we witnessed here and whether or not this is the type of result Mamelodi Sundowns will be happy to come back home with before that final game at home against MC Alger.
Yeah, two things we see were one, tactical adjustments from Mamelodi Sundowns. Tebucho was able to come in as a 6th seat a little bit and then allow Jaden Adams to advance and be closer to the striker Peter Shalulile, together with Nuno Santo and having Arthur Sales up top, just to make it a double 9 strikers so that there could be enough 1-against-1 situation. So I thought that Sundowns applied themselves better tactically, but maybe they introduced some subs a little bit late. The likes of Reynas in the last 9 minutes. You want him to have more minutes in order to have more impact in the game.
From your vantage point, Hask, we look at what this result means in terms of the group. Mamelodi Sundowns still remaining in the 3rd position with St. Eloi Lupopo still in 4th, but they now move to 5 points and Sundowns moves to 6th. It really is going to be everything to play for on that final match day in Group C.
Yeah, from a Sundowns perspective, they will not be happy with the fact that they've played 5 games and only have 6 points. So it's just over a point per game. A team of their caliber know that they need to do better than that. You can't go into the final match day and then need, a win against an opponent that's going to be very difficult, because make no mistake about it, MC Alger is going to come here and all they need is a draw to advance. And so they're going to make life very difficult for Sundowns. The gamesmanship is going to be through the charts, off the roof. I can guarantee you that. And so from a Sundowns perspective, they know they've left themselves with a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to be done. Come that final game out in Group C, where Mamelodi Sundowns will be up against Coach Rolani Mokwena's MC Alger. And of course, we've heard Coach Rolani speaking at length about that final game and how important it will be for him and his troops to come out for a victory in South Africa. But at this point, all they need is a draw.
As victory is not needed, and we know the North African teams and what they can be like when, they need to play for a result. And so, people are going to be rolling around, people are going to be wasting time. It's not going to be a pretty encounter, I can guarantee you that. But now Sundowns are really going to have to dig deep and show their mettle. They did, though, that this afternoon, I must say, going 1-0 down under very tough conditions, and then being able to get back into the game and get the 1 point, that does help them in a big way. Because if they had lost this match, they would have been bottom of the group.
Yes.
And that then puts a different complexion on the group. So they did well to get the draw, get the point, and now their destiny is firmly in their own hands. That's a good thing. They just need to win their match, but it's not going to be an easy task.
Not an easy task at all. We look, of course, at St. Eloi Lupopo, their home side here this afternoon. They took the lead in the 18th minute. Moilia here finding the back of the net. Let's speak to how they managed to break down the Sundowns defense here and find that opening goal.
No, it's always the space that they exploited just behind Mamelodi Sundowns defense. You could see look at the pass. Unfortunately, Mudau was not in the best position. And you could see, look at how Muila gets on the off the shoulders of the centre backs, just to make sure that he comes in there and then connects with a cross. Brilliant goal from Eloi Lupopo, but not the best defending from Mamelodi Sundowns.
Hask?
It's certainly a very good goal on the part of St. Eloi Lupopo, because I love the way Tukumbange literally took his chance there. After Ronwen Williams comes out, makes himself big, closes the angle, so he can't have a shot at goal. He has the presence of mind to just let it roll across the goal. And you can see there was intention behind that pass. It wasn't him shooting. He literally just put it across there, knowing that Molia was arriving on the far post, and all it was a tap-in for him. So from a team perspective, collective effort, great goal from Lupopo to get the advantage there.
And with that goal, it was, of course, their 3rd goal at home in the CAF Champions League in this season for St. Eloi Lupopo. Let's then speak to coming into Iswombe Sisibili, because Mamelodi Sundowns is a goal down at this point. And then they dealt with the blow of having to make a forced substitution of a Peter Shalulile, who's then replaced by a Brian Leon.
Yeah, you look at Peter's situation. I mean, Peter He's one important player for Sundowns because he helps them to press, disturb the build-up of the opposition, but also he's so good with making runs. He's so important with just giving them an outlet as a point of reference. So for him just to come out, obviously they missed, but also bringing in Leon Bryan, would expected that maybe could have just got a goal or two, but unfortunately couldn't get a goal. But I just hope that Peter will recover in time for the next fixture.
And you know that Peter Shalulile is the type of player, something drastic must be wrong. Peter Shalulile will not just go off the field unless it's absolutely necessary. This is the type of player you go to war with. He'll fight tooth and nail until he can't anymore. And so certainly something, you know, you could see he was moving very uncomfortably there. So definitely. But more than that, what this also does is it now limits you in the subs you can make, because, you know, you're only allowed 3 stoppages, but you want to plan for those stoppages. Once you're forced into a stoppage, you've got 4 substitutes left you can make, but you only have 2 stoppages. So, you know, that complexion changes things for the coaching staff as well. Now they have to think about how they're going to use their subs, where maybe they had planned to do certain things at a certain time. That changes everything. And so it's a really, really tough one when you're forced to make a sub, especially 4 minutes into the half. Because if it's made at halftime, it doesn't count as a stoppage. So that literally also hindered what they probably wanted to do from the bench.
Indeed, and we will, of course, just wait for those updates to get injury and whether or not he will be available for Mamelodi Sundowns in their next game. But we speak then to just overall the application. I think going into that halftime break, just not too happy with how Mamelodi Sundowns had come out. Coming into the second half, was it slightly better? Did they look more like the Mamelodi Sundowns we're used to seeing?
Much, much better, Vusiwe, because you could see a team that now wants to have enough numbers in attack, with Arthur Sales now partnering Peter Shalulile horizontally, but then also a Tebogo Mokoena who was very close to Grant Kekana and Ndamane in terms of build-up play. But it's the corner kick that was interesting for me, how Obrimudiba Vusiwe managed to make sure that he plays the corner kick outside the small box, because it's a less favorable area, because all the defenders of Eloi Lupopo were defending inside the small box, and it managed to find Jaden Adam, who was in a better position, and good connection for him just to pick a spot and score a good goal.
Yeah, this is why when you go man-to-man marking, you have to be really solid. Nobody there is attacking the ball, because Jaden doesn't jump for that ball. He literally has to crouch down.
The ball just comes to him, and he's just like...
Now, from a corner kick, it should never happen where a player crouches down to head the ball. He does beautifully, and great goal from Jaden Adams. But that speaks to now players who are chasing their man and are not focused on the ball at all. So you're literally chasing your man. The ball is going there. You're not even watching. No one is making an effort to get to the ball. And that's where Sundowns profit. And so well done to Jaden Adams. He loses his marker, is able to get the header. And you don't understand how important this goal is for Mamelodi Sundowns and the rest of their season, because this could be the goal that's, I mean, they now have to come home and do the business against MC Alger. But if it's not for this goal, Lupopo would then be able to go on and advance from this group. Right now, it will be difficult for them to do that, but that's a massive, massive goal from Jaden Adams.
Massive goal coming through from Jaden Adams for Mamelodi Sundowns. But we speak about St. Eloi Lupopo. Coming after that goal from Mamelodi Sundowns, they seem to just, for a larger part of that rest of the game, be on the back foot in just in terms of defending. Absolutely,
because Sundowns gained composure in terms of having the ball, keeping possession better. So obviously now it forced St. Eloi Lupopo to now defend, now to play without the ball. They were not getting the transitions attacks that they were getting earlier. So that helped a lot as well. And you look at this pass, I mean, when we spoke about Adams was
across, you hit it across goal, because there was space and time to do that. As soon as he turned, he was always going to get closed down, because he tried to bring it to his, obviously, his favorite left boot. but that needed just laces through it on target, and it surely would have been a goal.
But certainly after that goal from Mamelodi Sundowns, it was just all-out attack coming through.
Yeah.
We just feel that maybe they could go as high as 18 goals.
Sure.
So it clearly shows that there's a challenge in the final third in terms of final pass, in terms of finishing.
And we speak about Mamelodi Sundowns, the chances they had. We didn't really see said Eloi Lupopo coming too much in terms of attacking. In the
71st, you know, Sundowns literally hits the underside of the crossbar, and I'm sure at that point they were feeling like this is what it's going to be. We're not going to get anything out of this game, because when you miss from practically under the crossbar, you know it's always going to be a tough afternoon.
All right, of course, just showing you some of those opportunities coming through in the game. That was a Mamelodi Sundowns chance just coming through in that 72nd minute. Let's then move on to the 77th, because this is the opportunity we speak about, that combined opportunity for Thapelo Morena as well as an Arthur Salas.
Yeah, like we said earlier, Vusiwe, that they had numbers. Morena now was very close to the strikers, because he didn't have to worry about playing more on the wing, because Morena knew very well that we have numbers in terms of Mudau overlapping, then Morena can just overload the central forward line. And you can see, look at the combination. There was a lot of overloads from Mamelodi Sundowns, and that created a lot of problems for Eloi Lupopo. And also Sundowns kept possession in the right areas, which is their final third. And look at the chances. This is the chance we are talking about. You know, Morena got a chance there, but also credit to the Eloi Lupopo defenders, just putting their body on the line and blocking the ball there.
I was literally going to say that, because when you see the Thapelo Morena chance especially, there's a boot, a flying boot that comes in there to stop that. And that's what it took to really keep Sundowns out. They were very dominant in that second half. They were camped in pretty much in the AS Lupopo half of the field. But unfortunately, you know, they defended resolutely, and Sundowns weren't able to get that decisive second.
They weren't able to get the decisive second, but they do come back to South Africa with a point away from home against St. Eloi Lupopo. I guess that's a CAF Masjiga and If we take a look at some of those other key points coming in the second half of action. A 1-1 draw. They had to come from behind in this game to find that equalizer, and Jaden Adams being the youngster to find the back of the net. It's interesting when you still call Jaden Adams a youngster, but we've been watching him play football for such a long time. And we speak about Mamelodi Sundowns and the chances they got in this encounter. Let's move then to the set piece that they get, where we get an opportunity to see a Tebogo Mokoena, but Umrembula here not doing this into Esmazi Gutia was Guzienz.
Yeah, look, with Tebza, you always know that he's dangerous on set play. But for me, this is the chance that was from Brian Leon. He made a run behind the defensive line, but then poor decision making, because he was just supposed to look at the goalkeeper's position and try to finish with a one touch. So for me, again, is the decision in the final third.
I mean, it's a beautiful ball bent around the defense, and he takes a good first touch. But then what do you want to do is very indecisive. You can go around the goalkeeper, but you have to be very decisive in the decision you make. And I think the indecision cost him. But what an opportunity to really seal the game for Sundowns. That's what you expect, especially coming off the bench. Comes, you know, with great pedigree. They expect a striker, as he's been touted to be, to really come on and be the difference in that moment. Unfortunately, gets it wrong. And it's a good save. Even the follow-up from Arthur Salas, he also needs to do better, because does he just chip it over the goalkeeper? He literally the same thing that
back was good, because this is normally what you get from a Mamelodi Sundowns. They are so good in pushing the ball into the byline, Mudau, and then playing those cutbacks. But I just thought that this kind of a ball, he could have done much better.
Morena does beautifully. Tashreeq Matthews does beautifully, as you say, coach, to get into that position. If he starts converting, I should say 70% of these chances that he gets, because he gets quite a few. If he starts converting these on a regular basis, he's going to separate himself from his peers. I can guarantee you that, because he has scored a good amount of goals. He's got 8 in the local, in the PSL alone. He's got 8 goal involvements, 4 goals, 4 assists. If he can start converting these chances regularly, he's really going to separate himself from his peers because he gets into beautiful positions. He needs to just be more clinical in those areas.
And we, of course, know the 2026 FIFA World Cup coming up. A lot of players trying to put up their hands for Coach Hugo Bruce as well as his assistant coach, Coach Helman Mkelele. Let's take you through to an ad break. When we return, we start wrapping up this production. But, of course, SABC Sports still brings you Nedbank Cup action tonight, which will be on SABC 1. Champions League, MCLJ, Al Hilal. Coach Rulani Mukwena, that was a very important victory for him against Al Hilal.
How 2 match days can change the complexion of a group, because I mean they were on 1 point 2 match days ago, and now they're on 7 points, second position on the group. So 6 points that they've collected has really gone a long way to possibly getting them through this group. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Are we expecting any upsets in terms of looking at just that final match day when you look at Al Hilal coming up against St. Eloi Lupopo? Because many thought Al Hilal was pretty much set, but when you look at the group now, it's still very tight and still pretty much anyone's game in 1, 2, and 3. We could even include number 4, depending on the results.
No, definitely. Group C is still very open, especially for the 3 teams in Mamelodi Sundowns, MCLJ, Al Hilal, you know, and hence the last game is going to be very, very important and critical for all these teams. But also, can you imagine if St. Eloi Lupopo also beat Al Hilal, and then they move up to 8 points?
Yeah.
And then again, it affects the makeup of the group.
You could literally find a situation where 3 teams finish on 8 points, which would literally now go down to head-to-head goal difference. You have to calculate all these different things.
We don't want those calculations.
But yes, the thing is, from a Sundowns perspective, their destiny is firmly in their own hands. They don't need any favors from anyone. They need to go out on the last match day and do the business. They get a win on the last match day. They don't need to worry about what Al Hilal is doing and what Lupopo is doing. If they win their match, they are through to the next phase of the competition. That's all that matters. So right now, all their focus will be on that MCLJ match and win at all. That they can't draw the match. They have to win the match.
But of course, for MCLJ, they'll also come into that final match day quite inspired, looking at they coming in on 7 points already in second position. A draw gets them through.
Yeah, they are on a good rhythm with Coach Rulani there guiding the lads, because they are now on 7 points, number 2 on the log. And they're pretty sure that if they come here in South Africa to play against Sundowns, they just need a point. But they can also go all out for a win. And I mean, we're just talking off air with Mark that North African teams are so active tactically in the defensive phase.
Yeah.
They don't mind to defend the entire 90 minutes.
They'll suffer.
With a tactician like Coach Rulane, they're going to make it hard for Mamelodi Sundowns. So Mamelodi Sundowns have to make sure that they play their best game, play their best tactics, and they play their best players on the pitch as well.
And of course, it will be taking place on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day, but no love lost between the two sides. SABC Sport will, of course, be bringing you that encounter as Mamelodi Sundowns host MCLJ. Gentlemen, just to wrap up in terms of everything we've done here today in this production, also just wrapping up in terms of the Nedbank Cup, because the next game coming up for SABC Sport on SABC 1 will be Siwelele against Richards Bay FC. But just a quick one in terms of Golden Arrows making it as well into that round of 16.
Yeah, very dominant display by Golden Arrows against an Orbit College, who have a lot of work to do based on the performance we saw today and what we've seen in the past couple of games in the league as well. They're very intent on saving their status, but a lot of work to do for them.
Quick one, Coach. Siwelele, Richards Bay FC, who's getting into the round of 16?
Siwelele has an edge because of the quality in their disposal, and then I'm sure Richards Bay's priorities are on the Betway Premier League.
Okay, quick one, Mark. Which one between the two?
I actually think Richards Bay are a formidable outfit right now. They know what it is to go deep in the cup competitions as well. I sense an upset there where Richards Bay possibly will get beyond Siwelele.
All right, of course, as well, lots to look forward to.